My name's Angelo, and welcome to We Want Picks. This is the only channel dedicated to UFC fight picks and DraftKings lineups run by MMA insiders and professional fighters. Every week, I join Dan Kramer and Nick Newell, two longtime professional fighters that have fought at the highest levels on the planet, as well as Jacob Lyons, a skinny kid from Indiana. So join us every single week for our full fight card breakdowns, our individual fight card breakdowns, our betting guide, and our DraftKings lineups. Next up, at UFC 264, we have Sugar Sean O'Malley.
You didn't? Undefeated.
I was just about to say, I did the graphics this week, and I almost made it 13-0, just because Sean O'Malley is somehow pretending that he didn't lose.
I think we all know where he got that from. I think we all know where he got that from. All of a sudden, the lock of the week never loses, and then now he's making T-shirts about being 13-0 and all this stuff.
Well, either way, we have Sean O'Malley versus the very late replacement. And I guess not really, because there's still a week and a half, but they just announced it yesterday. Kris Moutinho. Sean O'Malley, 13-1. That one loss is that freak loss where Chito Vera lit up his leg. Sean O'Malley quit. You could say I'm being harsh for saying he quit, but he said his leg stopped working, so he quit. So he is 1 in his last 5. Kris Moutinho, 3-2 in his last 5. 9-4 overall. This is a weird matchup, a very weird matchup. Sean O'Malley coming off of an awesome win over Thomas Almeida. I picked Sean to lose that fight because Thomas looked so good. That fight, I mean, Sean O'Malley looked amazing. Like, let's get him top 5 in the division type amazing. And his original opponent, I actually thought was beneath him. This is now insane, what we've got going on here. So, very quickly, let me break these guys down. Sean O'Malley, he doesn't look like it, but he's got legitimate power and accuracy. He actually is shockingly an athlete in that body, and he's putting people away. He's doing whatever he wants to do. If he does have a weakness, it's potentially the grappling, but we really haven't seen that fully exposed just yet. So Sean O'Malley, unfortunately, I find myself rooting against him, unfortunately, is good everywhere. Kris Moutinho, I have some connections who know him. I'm from Connecticut. I know everybody on the Connecticut MMA scene. He's from Massachusetts. I reached out, got some feedback. He's a super tough dude who is a good wrestler, but good wrestler for the state, meaning like top 3 in high school in Massachusetts. All right. So not college wrestler, but good wrestler nonetheless. He comes forward, is willing to bang, but he does get hit. He will take one to give one. And I do not think Sean O'Malley is the right person to play that game with. So, I mean, it pains me, but I'm all in on Sean O'Malley. DraftKings, everything. Sean O'Malley, everything in this fight. I just do not see him losing. I think it's absurd that this is the matchup. He should probably be fighting people top 5 on the planet, but this is the matchup. I do wish, my whole spiel, when DraftKings assigns a price to a fighter and then they get a new opponent, the price that was assigned doesn't change. I wish he was cheaper. I wish he had a much tougher opponent to begin with so I could get him at 80-something hundred, but he was already the most expensive on the card. Now he's just even more worth it. So he's in my lineup, no questions about it. He's my pick. No question about it. I imagine most people, if they're watching this, it's just because they want to know about Kris. So I just broke that down. But what are your thoughts, Jacob?
Yeah, this is probably going to be one of those ones where even if Sean O'Malley loses, it doesn't hurt anyone because everyone is going to have Sean O'Malley in their lineup. Even at $9,500, I think that's still even a deal. I don't know what the most expensive fighter ever, but if they redid these odds, he would probably be $9,700 or $9,800. So I think you're even getting a deal at $9,500. And I honestly thought when his fight dropped, it sounded like he was going to get like a real opponent. And I was kind of excited. I'm a big Sean O'Malley fan. I was a little bit nervous that he was going to step up a little too fast on short notice because he's one of those guys that says, I'll fight anyone. And it sounded like, obviously there's weird stuff that happens. You don't know what the truth is, but it sounded like a lot of people called him out, said, I'm ready to fight, got the contract this week. And then, all of a sudden changed their mind. He mentioned someone called him out and then they got the contract and said, I don't think I could make the waiting time. So he was making fun of them. Like, you're calling me out. Here's the contract. Now you don't want to fight. So I think there was a little bit of that going on. I think a lot of people say they want to fight Sean until it's time to fight Sean, and then they really don't want to fight Sean because he is very, very talented. So I think Sean should dominate this fight. I was going to pick him in my lineup no matter who he fought, honestly, because I think he's that talented. So I like Sean to win this fight. $9,500 I think is still a deal. So
I'm one-on-one picking with Sean. I picked against him with Cheeto Vera, and I picked against him with Thomas Almeida. So I hit the Cheeto, lost the Almeida. Now I'm back on the Sean O'Malley train. I mean,
that whole he quit stuff is nonsense too, because he hurt his leg, couldn't feel his leg, and kept fighting for like a few minutes, like throwing kicks,
and then quit,
and was still piecing up Cheeto, and then finally just couldn't put any weight on it. And even on his back, he was fighting a little bit, and then he just got hit with an elbow and was like, ouch.
So it's too early. There's no DraftKings price associated with Kris. Monkey Knife Fight didn't put out a line yet, but whatever they put out, just go less. Whatever that line is, go less, because I think it's a stoppage. I think it's early. Congrats to Kris for getting this opportunity, taking this fight, stepping up. I mean,
on the biggest card of the year. Yeah, this is a hell of an opportunity.
100%.
Even if he lasts a round, if he gets a takedown or something weird, I mean, all of a sudden everyone's like, oh.
Well, and Kris is the type of guy, he will go out there and he will fight. 100%. He will go out there and throw.
Which, as you mentioned, could be his detriment in this fight because Sean is so precise, man. So precise.
100%. He already is pretty hittable. And
the only thing that could happen, I don't mean to keep interrupting you, but I keep thinking this in the back of my head, that Sean already is a show-off, confident guy. So he gets a short notice opponent. He could come in. He loves those spinning heel kicks, all that wild stuff. If Kris just times something just right, you might see something wild happen here because Sean already overconfident as it is, fighting even good competition. Not saying that Kris isn't, but Sean's going to come in and acting hot shit. So we'll see what happens.
Well, and let's put it this way. The last couple of weeks, I've struck gold with these last-minute UFC guys, right? Struck gold. I had Kennedy. Who was it last week? I've absolutely struck gold with these short notice, last-minute guys, and not happening this time. Not happening. When I saw Kris Moutinho was the opponent, I didn't know anything about him. I had to do my research, but my research was calling people who train with him and know him. And they all, I'm not going to name names or anything, but they're all like, listen, tough, nice, cool dude, but he does get hit. He goes marching forward. Sean O'Malley's not the right person to do that with. I think it's pretty clear who the pick is here. We all have him in our DraftKings lineup. You brought up a good point that everybody will have him in their DraftKings lineup. So, we'll talk about that in the DraftKings breakdown video if you should or should not. But either way, that's our pick.